Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Dan Richard Fishing. Today we're going to be talking about lithium again, okay? And it's a big one today. I got a lot to talk about because I have been sent a battery, so full disclosure, free of charge, to test, beat up, try out, take apart, do whatever I want with, and it's right here from the folks at LiLead. Now, this is owned by the company called Raytech. Raytech's been around for like 10 years, and I've actually heard of them before. And they sent me this battery, they hit me up, and I know they've sent it to a bunch of other YouTubers because it's been reviewed before, but big difference. This is the Gen 2, the 2022 battery that they're coming out with. So this actually isn't available until 2022, so in a couple of months, but they gave me this sort of prototype to play with and to show you guys what the big differences are, and I'm pretty impressed. Okay, so here's the battle plan, guys. We're going to actually divide this video up into 3 different parts, and as always, if I'm talking too much or you want to skip ahead, you can just use the chapters below, click on the timeline, and go wherever you want to go. So this is what we're going to do. We are going to start off with a little intro about the company and the specs of the battery. Then after that, we're going to actually take this sucker out on the water. I'm going to go ahead and take out my old battery, and we're going to compare it to this new one on the trolling motor, okay? So we're going to hook up a 12, you'll see, it's going to be a lot of fun. And then after that, we're going to go back into the office, we're going to open it up, we're going to see what makes this thing tick, what the guts look like, and some final thoughts, all right? So, very excited. Before we get going though, make sure guys, as always, make sure you're subbed, make sure you drop a like on the video if you enjoy this kind of content, and make sure you hit the bell notification, that way you'll know every time I upload, blah, blah, blah. You know the drill by now, this is not your first time watching YouTube. Let's go. So as it says on the label right here, this is the LiLead S110, so it's 110 amp hours, and it's good for up to 800 amps. 800, that's insane. So you can basically start up a diesel truck with this thing. It's got a 110 amp hour rating for 1,350 watt hours. Now, this is a dual style battery. So this means this is a lithium battery that you can use both as a deep cycle for your trolling motors, but also a starting battery, okay? And that's what makes these a little bit different than most lithium batteries out there. Is the lithium batteries that you commonly see are not appropriate for starting your vehicles. This is specifically designed for starting your outboard. Okay, now hold on, before we go any further, you cannot use this in your vehicle on a consistent basis. Now, we'll test it, we'll try it, but you can't leave it in your car. Underneath your hood, it undergoes, extreme temperatures in the engine compartment, which the battery just can't support. So the discharge temperatures on this battery range from about minus 20 degrees Celsius to 65 degrees Celsius, which is minus 4 degrees Celsius to like 149 degrees Fahrenheit. And then you also have your charge temperature, so the ambient temperature it needs to be when charging, which is between minus 20 degrees Celsius and 40 degrees Celsius, which works out to minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Then you have your ambient temperatures for storage, so just when the battery's not being used, and that would be between minus 20 degrees Celsius and 40 degrees Celsius, and in Fahrenheit that is minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit and 104 degrees Fahrenheit. So you can see obviously battery temperatures inside of your car engine compartment, they get way higher, much hotter or colder than that, so not good in your car, okay? This is really for recreational purposes. It's good for, your boat and things like that. It's specifically designed for marine applications. So this could be kayak, yachts, fishing boat, whatever. And it also does have high temperature protection. So if the temperatures reach 185 degrees Fahrenheit, or I think it's 85 degrees Celsius, I'm pretty sure those conversions are right, then the high temp protection will kick in on the BMS, which is the controller, the brain of the battery, automatically cut off any kind of discharge from the battery so it doesn't cause any problems with your equipment or damage the battery permanently. And here's the big difference, guys, is this thing only weighs 23 pounds, whereas a normal flooded acid battery would probably weigh in about 60 pounds for the same amount of power, which is nuts. The other super impressive thing is the discharge on this thing. It has a 150 amp BMS, so the brain of the controller can handle a 150 amp constant maintained output. However, this thing can discharge at 400 amps for 30 seconds or 800 amps at 3 seconds, which is crazy. Most lithium batteries are not rated to do that whatsoever. So that's why this is a dual purpose battery. So it's good for both starting your outboard as well as powering your electronics, trolling motor, any kind of deep cycle stuff that you need. So truly, on paper, an amazing battery. Now, some of you might be asking, why the heck would I need 400 amps of discharge? Well, it's actually because on bigger boats, on some yachts, they have bow thrusters, and bow thrusters can take up to 300 amps when they're engaged to maneuver the boat, but it's not sustained, right? You only use the bow thrusters for a couple seconds at a time or a few seconds. That's why it doesn't need to be sustained throughout. So as I mentioned before, this is actually the second generation of this. This is the battery that's coming out in 2022, and unlike the V1, this can be wired both in series as well as in parallel, whereas before you could only wire it in parallel. So super important for those of you that want to use this for 24 or 36 volt trolling motors, you can with this new addition. The other big one is that the anchors inside have been increased. So there's actually a friction bar in here. We're going to open this and I'm going to show you what the friction bar looks like. And what was happening was the mounting base inside the battery was just too weak. And what was happening was you couldn't do stuff like this. Oops. All right. The battery's fine. Nothing shaking loose. The box didn't really survive though. The box has got a big old crack in it. And so now the anchors have 2 additional connection points and they're twice as thick with a steel threaded sleeve. So it's just much more robust and can handle that kind of punishment. And you'll see in older reviews how a lot of people would shake the battery and there would be something loose inside, and it was that friction bar that was breaking. And that problem has pretty much been eliminated now, unless you drop this thing off a crane, I guess. That would probably damage it. Did I mention the size difference? This is a Group 31 flooded acid battery, and this is the S10. This is a 100 amp hour, this is a 110. This weighs 60 pounds, this weighs 23 pounds. Massive difference. In fact, I actually took the specs of the 105 amp hour Battleborn battery. This case profile is actually about 30% smaller than even that battery. So really impressive size, small profile case, and obviously way lighter, a third of the weight of this big guy. Now I know what you're thinking, blah, 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 let's get the show on the road. So let's jump into the boat. We're gonna strap on a 12 volt trolling motor to the back of the boat, and we're gonna test this out. So I'll show you the setup, but basically we're gonna test out the LiLead lithium battery versus the Interstate 12 volt, just regular flooded acid battery. We're gonna give it a shot. We're gonna see how they stand up. We're gonna test the voltage and all that good stuff, okay? And then when we're done, we're gonna come back, we're gonna bring this thing into the office, we're gonna tear it apart, we'll get into the specs, I'm gonna show you what's inside and talk about the components and what makes this a good or possibly bad battery, and give some final thoughts, okay? So let's get going. Welcome to live field testing. We are going to be trying out the LiLead battery out here in the real world on Lake of Two Mountains trolling. All right, so we brought out the trolling rods. We brought the beast rods out in the hopes of catching a 55-inch muskie. Not very likely, but we'll try anyway. And we're gonna test out some batteries, all right? So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take a standard Group 31 lead acid battery, and we're gonna take this guy, we're gonna hook it up to a trolling motor that I brought, a 12 volt clamp-on trolling motor, and we're gonna troll for 2 hours, and we're gonna see how it drains the battery, and then we're gonna slap on the lithium battery and see how that one performs. And throughout the testing, we're gonna check and see how the battery level does and see how drained they get, all right? So let's get set up. And I'm gonna show you guys kind of what we're doing, and we'll see if we can catch us some fish. All right, so first up, we're gonna get our battery out of here. So this thing is fully charged. So we're gonna pull it out. I've already disconnected it. And these, of course, are my trolling motor batteries, and we're gonna pull it out, and I'm gonna put it in the back of the boat. Okay, it's heavy. This thing is about the equivalent of the lithium battery, right around 100 amp hour type battery. And this is typically what you would buy as a deep cycle for your trolling motor. And then I've got some clamps here, and that's going to this Minn Kota trolling motor. I believe this is a 32 pound rated trolling motor, 12 volts. So this is what we're gonna be using. God help us. Okay guys, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna use this Optimate tester. So this actually is good for lithium, AGM gel, and standard lead acid filled batteries. And this is gonna show us what we need, what we've got in terms of charge. So it's got the voltage meter here, and it's just an easy way to see, are we at 100%, 50%, 0%. So we're gonna do this on every battery that we test, okay? We're gonna be keeping an eye on the regular, all right? Just to show that this is fully charged. So let's get this guy on negative, this guy on positive, and you can see the light is at 12.9 volts. So we're pretty much at the maximum for an AGM or a standard flooded battery, okay? So this battery is fully charged, ready to go. So now we've got the multimeter here. So just to show you the voltage from the multimeter, there you go, 12.84. 12.85 on the multimeter, right? So this is a fully charged battery, ready to go. Okay, the leads are now connected, good to go. We're ready to start trolling. All right, guys, here we go. So we're gonna be using the gold hard bait like this. We're gonna try that out. And on this side, we've got the big musky bait going. This guy. Whoa, look out. All right, guys, so here's the timer, 2 hours, all right? Let's start. The adventure has begun. We're all set up. The rigs are going. I got the depth finder right in front of me here, so we're keeping an eye on that. Now, we already started, and we've got the lead acid battery here, so we're testing this guy out. And when I check the voltage on the multimeter, while we're running, we're at 12.10 volts. So while it's pulling maximum amperage for this motor, we're pulling at 12.10, so it'll be interesting to see how it does. I'm gonna keep checking it because I don't wanna drain this battery too far. If we drain the battery too far, I can actually damage it, right? So let's not forget, one of the big things with lead acid is that you can only drain these batteries to around 40 or 30% of its capacity. After that, you're risking damaging the battery because of the sulfate process, so you don't wanna do that. So I can only take this battery down 30 or 40%. So that's why these lithium batteries are so much better, because you get not only the full power bandwidth, you can completely drain them until the BMS shuts it off, and you get more than 12 volts, right? Pretty much the entire bandwidth, which you're gonna see in this test. So right now, 12.10, we're just getting started. We'll see how it does as we continue. All right, guys, so the struggle is real. This trolling motor is kind of a giant piece of junk. So it's actually, there, it just died. So it goes for about 10-15 minutes and then dies. And then I have to lift it up, give the prop a smack with this, and then it starts going again. The battery's still going. We're taking little breaks here and there to fix this. It takes like 2 seconds. So this is we're struggling with this test, but we're gonna make it happen. We've got 1 hour and 23 minutes left on the timer, and we are currently at 12.4 volts, so at 12.4 from 12.8 something. So definitely starting to load the battery up pretty good. So let's keep cooking a little bit more and we'll keep an eye on it. See, like, we just let it rest a little bit and now it's working again, but there's something loose in here because when you smack it, it starts working again. It's really, really strange. Anyway, we'll just, we'll keep plodding on with the test. All right, guys, so we are just about done the 2 hours. We got 3 seconds left. There we go. All right, stop. 2 hours done. Let's go see what the status is of the battery. So I've got the trolling motor going, and you can see on here it's at 12 volts, 0 drained. Okay, so this means the battery is pretty much hitting 0. So we've got it, you know, way below what we want. And if we look at the voltage that's being drawn on the multimeter, right here, it's at, well, we're now below. So we're at 11.93 volts. So we're now pulling below. That means we've drained the battery pretty good. We're at least at 50%. Now let's stop everything. So now you can see with the trolling motor stopped, we're at 12.3. So we're just under 50% drained, okay? And if I go and check the voltage on the multimeter, we're at 12.25. So we're just under 12.3. So that means we're hitting about 50% drain. So running it on and off for the last 2 hours, we've managed to drain almost 50% of the battery. So I'm sure if I had been running this straight for 2 hours with this 30-pound motor, this thing would be pretty much done for the day. So now we're gonna go ahead and put this back. We're gonna put it back in our 24-volt configuration over there. And I'm gonna go ahead and plug in the lithium battery. We're gonna see how it does. Look at the size difference between the lithium battery and the Group 31. Look at this. Look at the size difference. It's crazy. Here, I'll put them side by side this way. Look at that. Look at the size difference. Absolutely nuts. Okay, guys, we've got the LiLead battery on, and I've got just the testers attached right now. So the trolling motor is not even connected. There's the trolling motor wires right here. So you can see here, this bad boy is at 13.6 volts. It's reading the maximum charge for lithium. Green bar is lithium. And on the multimeter, you can see we're at 13.78 volts. That's with nothing connected. So let's connect the trolling motor, turn it on, and see what it does to those numbers. Okay, guys, so now we've got the trolling motor connected and the multimeter connected. So this cable here goes to the trolling motor. You can see we're at 3.78. And now watch what happens when I turn the trolling motor on full blast. It drops to 13.3. It's kind of all over 13.3 around there. 13.29, 13.3. So around 13.3. Okay, 2 hours is set. And go. Oh, it's going. All right, here we go. Hey guys, no joke. So we're running the lithium battery, and I already told you about how the motor keeps like stalling, and then we gotta let it rest for a couple seconds, then restart it or hit the, anyway. I'm not kidding, since the lithium battery is on, delivering more power, it actually does it way less. So we're actually getting more runtime out of the trolling motor with the lithium battery. I don't know why. I thought maybe the motor was overheating, but for whatever reason, it's actually performing better, and I'm getting more speed on the boat with this running. So with the trolling motor on and the motor idling, the big motor, we were hitting about 3.4 miles an hour. And with the lithium battery, we're hitting 3.7. So we're actually getting more overall performance as well. Crazy. Here's our setup in action. Here's our current speed, 3.6 miles an hour. A little too fast for walleye, but perfect for muskie. Okay guys, a little update on what's going on here. So we've got roughly 43, if it was focus on that would be cool. It says 43:38, I guess it's blurry, I'm sorry. But we've got 43:38 minutes left. Let's see where we're at. So we're all hooked up. The trolling motor right now is off. I just shut it off for a split second. So you can see where we're at. We're at 13.3, which is about 75% charge. And we are at 13.26 volts. So we are still above 12 volts. Which is crazy. So we haven't even seen 12 volts yet. Let me turn on the trolling motor here. So we're gonna turn this sucker on to full speed. There we go. And we are still at 13.09, 13.10. And this is showing 13.1. So it's right on the money. It's reading right. So still above 12 volts and plenty of power. And we still got another 40 minutes to go. So let's see what it does in another 40 minutes. Oh, my phone turned off. 2 minutes 52 to go. Currently, can we see what that says? It's not really. There we go. Does that say 2:53? 2:53 p.m. in the afternoon. And she's going. She's still cooking. Let's go. On high speed. Come on. All right, here we go. 304. Oh no, the phone just went off. There we go. Done. Stop. All right, and we're gonna stop Mr. Zoom out. All right, we're gonna stop Mr. Trolling Motor. There we go, done. All right, let's see what kind of measurements we get on here. Okay, so our resting voltage is 13.3. We're still at like 75% charge. We're not, the 50 mark is right here. And the 100% is here, and we're kind of in the middle, a little bit past middle. So maybe like 65, 70% charge, still remaining at 13.3 volts. And if we look at the multimeter is reading 13.29 volts. Now, let's go ahead and turn on the trolling motor full blast. And we are still above 12.9. We're at 13.09, 10. It's kind of going in between all of them. So you can see we're still drawing over 13 volts, and on here it's showing 13.1 at 50%. So you can see we still have at least 60%, 65% battery capacity over 13 volts. Okay, next test. We're gonna take this battery as is, and I am gonna take out my main starting battery. We're gonna pull that out, and I'm gonna connect this as my starting battery. We're gonna get it to run, well, we're gonna see if it'll start my motor, and we're gonna run the live well on it. We're gonna run the camera that's over here. We're running all the equipment, 2 graphs. We're just gonna absolutely hammer this thing. We're gonna see how it holds up. Okay, so here we are. We're taking out the main boat battery. Boom. This is just a standard battery I got as an emergency, and it's a group 24 size. So group 24 size is this big, and here again you can see it compared in size to this guy, who is more powerful than a 31, and it's also half the weight. All right, let's get this guy in here. Got the battery in. This side is fine, but this side, the issue here is that the post is smaller than the post on the the standard battery. Even though I've got a shim, there is a brass shim in here, it still needs another shim. So what I did was just really temporarily is I cut a couple of pieces of zip tie, you can see right there,
and I shoved it in and then tightened it down. And that's got it tight enough that it won't come off, but obviously that is just for testing this out. This is not a permanent solution by any stretch of the imagination. This would actually need to have a thicker brass shim put in here to get it to fit properly, okay? For this particular type of connector anyway. So let's give this a shot. Let's see how it goes. Will it start the big engine? Okay guys, so just to show you, it is currently 3:16 p.m. just to show you there's no shenanigans. And we are 13.27 volts. The LiLead battery's in there. My lovely wife is going to start the motor now. Hit it. Oh my God. What did that do? 12.95. Turn it off. Go ahead and turn that off. All right, go give it another hit. It doesn't even go past like 12 point, I think it said 12.66. Unbelievable. So obviously starts an engine, no problem. That was like a breeze. So listen, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna let this thing run. We're gonna go do some fishing for the rest of the afternoon. We're gonna go play around. We're gonna go see if we can catch some bass in the reeds. I'm gonna turn the live wells on. I'm gonna recharge batteries. I'm gonna have all my graphs going. Okay, let's get some fishing done. Okay guys, we just got home. Boat is still pinned. Let's go back here. And lithium battery has been removed. And the old battery is right here. I haven't put it back in yet. I just popped this out when we got home. And why would I do such a thing? Why? Well, that's because we got one more test to do. Hello, Mr. Tripod. So, now that this battery has been trolling for 2 hours non-stop at full speed, and we just used it in the boat for all kinds of electronics. We had the graphs running, we had batteries charging on it, all that good stuff. Now we're gonna find out, can we start a Hemi with it? We've got here a 5.7 liter V8 Hemi, and we've got the LiLead battery in here after a day of use. We've got it on the monitor here. So you can see I haven't messed with it. It's still at 3.2825. That's pretty much what it was at when we left it. And there you go, it's hooked up, ready to go. And actually, there's the old battery is right there. So let's test this out and see how it does. Okay guys, here we go. Will it start the Hemi? Will it blow up the Hemi? We'll find out. Les petits poissons, vous êtes où? Vous êtes où les petits poissons? And you can see here it's pulling 13.9 volts once it's on and the charging system's engaged. There you have it guys. You don't need much more proof than that. Numbers are right there. And you just saw the beating this battery took today, and it still starts my truck no problem. And in fact, even if it's not that impressive starting up the Hemi, I've actually seen a video of this exact battery starting up a 7.3 liter diesel engine. And you know, those are beasts, how much they draw. It's well over, 600 amps to start those trucks. And this started it no problem. So it's just an amazing battery. Really, really blown away with it. All right, we're upstairs in the office and we're gonna take this guy apart and see what makes it tick. We'll talk about the specs, we'll get into some details, and then we'll do some final thoughts, all right? So let's bring the camera over here and zoom in on this battery and let's start taking it apart and let's see what's in there. Okay guys, so let's start off with the case. So the case has these caps over each one, and you've got the brass terminals on here, and the hardware also included, you get the brass bolts that fit in here. So if you have any terminal connectors you want to screw down, you can bolt them down with that, with the included bolts. The case is actually IP67 rated, so it is water resistant, so you can actually dunk this in water and pull it back out. It'll be totally dry, so if you swamp your boat, it will stay nice and dry inside, okay? So we've just got some Allen bolts that come out here. Now opening it does void your warranty. Luckily you don't have to open it because you get to see what it looks like when I open it. And we're gonna open this up. You know what, we're gonna turn this the other way. Yeah, let's turn it that way so we get a better look at it. And we'll open it up this way. Underneath here there's the BMS connector there, that just popped off. So that's this here, this is the BMS connector that connects to the BMS, which is right here. Let's see, 4S112, 150 amps, so it is a 150 amp BMS. It says it right on the plate that's here.
LiFePO4 BMS 3.9 volt. So that'll be per cell. And looks like we've got, yeah, so we've got all your connectors here. And this should be 6-gauge wire. Let me see if I can peel back. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, I can see it underneath here. All right, yeah, so this is 6-gauge. Now here you can see the culprit that I was talking about earlier. This is this friction bar, and the friction bar is held down with 2 bolts down here and down here. And this is the culprit that was coming loose on older models. So this would break from the base, this would shift up, and then your cells would rattle around. Now the cells that are in here are actually prismatic EV cells, so they're EV rated. So let's crack this open. There's our friction bar. That comes out. And then this whole system is just going to pull out. So I guess we can, it's got some tape around here. We can just pull it out. There you go. There, that just pulls out like that. And there you go. There's your prismatic cells. So there's 4 of them. And here you can see laser welded connections. These are laser welded. They're not soldered. They're not hand soldered on. That's all laser welded. So it is indeed laser welded. And again, pull down the sheathing here. 200 degrees Celsius rated. And this 6-gauge, by the way, is good for a sustained rate. There it is. 6, yeah, okay, so it's right here. It says 6. Okay, perfect. So 6-gauge is actually rated for a sustained amperage. 6-gauge silicone protected is good for up to 126 amp sustained. Yep, everything looks fantastic on here. Good high quality BMS as well. So yeah, you know, the 2nd generation, they did a good job with this. They really did a nice improvement by fixing that friction bar, allowing this to be wired in series. That's also a big deal. So very, very cool. There you can see the writing on the BMS right there. You can see the 150 amp, 12 volt right there. And there's your laser welds. So everything looks good here, guys. So let's put this back together and we'll do a couple of final thoughts. Okay, everybody, so obviously my experience so far with this battery is phenomenal. Obviously the performance was amazing. The changes that they've made on this battery versus the 1st generation are great. You know, now we know the case is more solid. We make sure we have the 6-gauge silicone wire. It can be wired in parallel now as well as series, so that was super important. The fact that it couldn't, the 1st generation could be wired in series, that was a big thing. It comes with the hardware now as well that it didn't come with before, so you get all the brass bolts. So what I did was I wanted to see how the customer service was. So the way this works is these are available off of Amazon. So these are built in China, you know, where actually pretty much all lithium batteries are made. All cells, all lithium cells are built in China, and most lithium batteries are built in China as well. Some brands assemble them, will receive the parts that are all made in China, and then they assemble them in the US, such as Battleborn. So one of the things I wanted to find out was how's the customer service with this guy? You know, is this, are they responsive, and do they answer me properly, and you know, all that good stuff. So what I did is I actually sent to their Amazon store, I sent them a bunch of questions, asking just different things about their policies and what they're about and all that sort of thing. And I wanted to share some of this. So the big important one is, and like I mentioned in my other video, guys, and by the way, if you're still not familiar with the advantages of lithium and why lithium is so much better than flooded batteries in terms of power bandwidth and all that sort of thing, check the link in the description below. I'm going to link to my Truth About Lithium Batteries video. I'll reference that so that you really get a good idea of what the battery technology is about, because we didn't really get into it too much in this video. Yeah, so basically the first thing I really liked is that they responded to me within 24 hours to all of my questions. And here's some of the questions that I asked. So question number 1, what are the details on the warranty of the battery? I saw that it says 10 years, so it is a 10-year warranty, but is that a full replacement warranty for 10 years? Is it prorated? You know, what's the story? So if an item is new, unused, and in the original packaging, they accept returns up to 30 days of receipt and full refund, no restocking fee. And they do offer, like I said, the 10-year manufacturer warranty against defects from the date of purchase. The first year is full replacement, and after that it's prorated after 1 year of use. So in other words, it'll, you know, if it dies in year 2, you get 90% back. Year 3, you get you know, let's say 80%, I'm not sure exactly. We have to divide it out of the 9 years. So basically divide the 100% of the price by 9, and that's how you'll figure out how much it reduces year to year. Do you have an official company website, or is everything on Amazon? Yes, so they do have LiLeadBattery.net. And of course they sell on Amazon, but like I said, this version of the battery won't be available for another couple of months, all right? So in 2022, this will be available on Amazon. So for now, the ones that you probably see for sale are the Gen 1, okay? Do you guys have Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter? No, not yet. If you sell on Amazon, is it only on Amazon.com in the USA? Yes, the stock is currently in California at a US warehouse, and it ships out of California, so it's not available in Canada yet. By the way, these guys are already very well established in Europe. So these guys actually have been selling batteries in Europe since 2018. So they've been around there. They have several models out there, including a 24-volt, 110 amp hour battery, which will be coming to Canada, which will be coming to the US. Where do your batteries ship from? They ship from California. What brand of battery charger do you recommend for this unit? 12-volt lithium battery is okay. Known brands are preferred. So guys, the NOCO Genius ones that I like are the Minn Kota for lithium. All excellent ones to use. I'll put a link in the description below to the NOCO ones that I like. How long has LiLead been selling batteries and equipment? Raytech International Limited has R&D experience of 10 years in lithium batteries. We build custom batteries for global enterprises, the US government, medical companies, Canadian military, and Australian military. LiLead is the brand that Raytech develops for its independent, intelligent batteries. All right then. So in terms of final thoughts, guys, you know, out on the water, it was obvious that the battery was better. I mean, it was obvious. We got more power out of the trolling motor itself, and you saw how the trolling motor, I had a problem with it jamming up. It did it way less on the lithium battery. I had so much more power by the time I was done the lithium battery, you know, using it for the trolling motor, that I then went and ran it on the boat. I ran the live wells forever. I had it powering up several batteries, recharging my batteries, running the camera, and then it still started up no problem. And then I went and even started my truck with it. So, I mean, there's no arguing in my mind that this battery has way more power than a flooded battery. Way more power. It lasts way longer. I mean, I would say I'd probably get double the amount of actual power bandwidth out of this battery. So on the water testing, truly impressive. I've got nothing to say. On paper, specs look fantastic. You know, I'm not a lithium expert. There are other channels out there that know far more than I do, but I mean, in terms of the specs, everything makes sense. In terms of the power that it can handle, also makes sense. And so, I mean, on paper, it looks good. The form factor is very small. It's super lightweight. If you had 4 of these on your boat, we're talking, you know, 90 pounds. Actually, it's probably like, yeah, it's 92 pounds, something like that. So, I mean, that's super impressive to have that much power and yet so little a form factor. I mean, that's just crazy. And then the last part was taking apart the battery. So taking apart the battery, everything looked good. So we have the better case, the hardware looks good. We have 150 amp rated sustained discharge rated BMS. So the BMS is good. The cells are high quality. The build seems to be high quality. Yeah, so I mean, this second generation version, it just has better features. The case is more robust, which is super important because like I said, the first generation, it seemed to have an issue from the reviews that I saw with that friction bar breaking, and you could hear the cells rattling around inside, which is not good because then it hits the wires and it can rub the wires and that sort of thing. So I think, you know, this is just a way more solid build. So, you know, overall, I got to give this battery super high marks. For my first lithium battery, this thing is super impressive. I mean, this is perfect for a kayak. It's waterproof, it's water resistant. So if you dunk the kayak, it's no big deal. You won't destroy your battery. You won't destroy the CMS. So for a kayak or any kind of smaller, you know, an inflatable boat, stuff like that, for a Zodiac style boat, this thing is perfect. Just one of these, you'll run that trolling motor all day. You'll have power all day, no problem. So, I mean, this thing is awesome. You can use it on a yacht, so you can put several of these in parallel. And in a bass boat, it'd be perfect. So you would have, like for me, I'd need 3 of these, right? I could use 2 of them for the trolling motor for 24 volt because I can wire them up in series. And then I've got 1 as my main starting boat and powering all my electronics. And the thing is, with this battery, with this extra power, I wouldn't be afraid. I could run those live wells constantly, run the aerator constantly, run my pan optics. 4 screens, no problem. Not that I can afford 4 screens, but whatever. I'm fully confident I would have power all day. So guys, I mean, I've got I got nothing to say. I got to give this thing full marks. It's a very, very impressive battery. So that's it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed my review and testing of the LiLead S110 battery. Really, really impressed with lithium, you know, but of course, guys, like I always tell everyone, when you're doing your shopping, shop around, check the specs, check the warranty, check communication, send emails to their customer service people and see if they get back to you in time, because that'll tell you whether or not after you buy your battery, how soon they're going to get back to you. So super, super important. Just make sure you shop around, do your research. Okay, guys? So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And as always, guys, don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, you want to see more. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, and of course, if you have questions, comments, inquiries, whatever, you know, just go ahead and drop me a comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. All right, guys? So thank you so much. I really appreciate it, everybody. Have an excellent, excellent day, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace.